Welcome back. Today we're gonna finish that motor off, so we could get that off the bench here. We ordered some terminal blocks. They got a bit of fancy color, but it's actually ceramic. It's sort of ceramic. I don't know what it is. It's not plastic. It doesn't feel like plastic. So that goes in here, and they come from China because for the money you pay for those, you can wait 2 or 3 weeks. It's a reasonable quality, not the best ones, but they're okay. So what we're gonna do now is we fit those wires. I've done one already. I've done 2 already actually. So get rid of that insulation and then scrape the lacquer off with a knife to make sure it's actually copper and not that insulation layer. And I've done most of it. Feels good. So then take a piece of wire, make it flat. Just make it flat. Then take about 70% of the whole thing and just wrap the flat part around. Might be hard to see on camera, but so you got a full layer of your wire around the old wire. Sorry, battery was flat. Okay. The reason for doing it this way is it gives you a very flat joint, so you can slide over your insulation heat shrink or whatever, rather than having a big bubble there. So just get that soldered up. Make sure you put enough heat into it, because there's quite a bit of heat absorbed by the coils here. So that should be about right. No, that wasn't right. Patience. Give it another pinch here. Alright, so let that cool down a bit, and then we just put some heat shrink over those, and just basically seal it with some wax cotton string. Make sure it keeps in place. What we're also going to do is replacing those, because it's rubber and it's really weird. Alright, we're going to heat shrink those, and then we'll come back. So we got it heat shrinked. We put some gelatin sleeve. It's actually heat shrink, but we don't shrink it over these 2 wires, because there is an air inlet here, so just to make sure they're a bit protected. And that goes to the terminal block here. The other side goes here. We still need to do these wires here. Just don't like them. We need to. There might be one which I can't get. I don't know. We'll see. Alright, let's do the other side, and then we just bind it together, and that should be it. So we got the old wires replaced. We got them here and here. Make sure you mark the ends and put a piece of heat shrink over there to make them coming together. The problem is, if you check continuity, you don't know which end it is, and if the ends are swapped, the motor will not run. You may make a lot of noise, it will hum, but it will not run if the A and B ends of the coils are swapped around. If you swap all of them, it's fine, but if you swap a single one, the magnetic field will be just the wrong way around, and that's the reason why it doesn't work. So now we need to sew that a little bit together here to make sure it stays in place and doesn't rattle around. And then we just put the cover back on and mount that terminal block somehow. Alright, let's bind that. So everything is strapped together. We just used some hemp string. It's actually waxed hemp string. That's alright. That's been used in the old days. It's not super pretty, but the problem is you can't get through all of them. There's lots of lacquer and stuff like that. It's solid, doesn't move. Put a dab of epoxy on the end. Nothing is in the way. So obviously you need to make sure the rotor has clearance, which it has. Now it just needs the terminal block, and I think we need to drill some holes here. No, it doesn't fit. Yeah, I've got a bigger one, but that's probably too big. So we need to do something with those holes here, because they don't fit. Alright, let's do that, and we'll come back. So we got all the wires set, and now they are paired here. The terminal block goes up here, and then we fit the wires. There is something to look at. They can't be just random. I didn't have the right crimps. I need to look for the right size crimps here. So we're probably gonna do that tomorrow. With these wires, in star it doesn't matter in which order they are. There is a order to make the motor turning clockwise. If the field is turning clockwise, but at the end of the day it doesn't matter, because if you wire it up, it always runs backwards. Murphy's law rules that whatever you do, it runs the wrong way around. Anyway, one set of wires goes on this side, the other set of wires goes on this side, and for delta you just put these bridges in. For star, that would be 400 volts. They go this way, and the spare one on top. So that would be 400 volts, and in delta with 230 volts. So again, I need to find the right crimps. But let's talk about the arrangement of the wires. Obviously one set goes on one side, the other set goes on the other side. They are clearly identified by this tubing here. So a little bit of a drawing here. So let's assume we have our three terminals, and we have our coils. The coils are here and here, because if you put them in delta, we actually switch them in delta. We put all the ends together. In star it would be the same. You just put the star, so delta is this, we just put the bridges here. In star it would be the same. Just the bridges are here, and your power goes here. Same as here, power goes here. So this equals to so L1, L2, L3, and in star you got the coils centered. So that's L1, L2 and L3. So this is star, this is delta. Delta is always the low voltage because the coils are directly on the faces. Here you have two coils between the faces, so this is the higher voltage. Because you got 400 volts here between the faces, and you got 230 volts between here and here, because it's a three-phase system, so it doesn't add up really. Because if let's say if you got one cycle is doing that, the next cycle is doing that, so the voltage between those is not exactly double. That's the reason why. This is 230, 230 and 230, and 400 volts here as well. 400 volts between those. So you could actually tap into a motor and get 230 volts. Sometimes this is done for external fans also. If they're really low power you can do it, otherwise you're causing some imbalance on the motor. Alright, that was a little bit of theory about the wiring. It's very important that the ends are correct. So this is the A end, A end, A end, B end, B end, B end. If you swap one coil around, the motor will not work. Alright, that should be it from this one today. I need to find the right crimps, I probably need to buy some. Alright, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing. Until the next part when we're gonna put it back together and run it.